Turn a decimal into a percent, and then we're going to learn how to turn a percent into a decimal. So we have two things to learn: a decimal into a percent and a percent into a decimal. Okay? Not very hard. So here we have, right, 0.72 as a percent. What is 0.72 a what?
Decimal.
It's a decimal. We've got to make it a percent. So in your calculator, type 0.72 and multiply times 100 and tell me what you get.
72.
So 0.72 as a percent is 72%. So that brings us to our first rule. Rule number one is, if you're going from a decimal to a percent, so we're going from a decimal to a percent, you multiply by 100. Multiplied by 100. So rule one is, if you're going from a decimal to a percent, you multiply by 100.
We'll change it to a percent.
Okay, now, this is from a decimal to a percent. The second thing you're going to have to do is go from a percent to a what?
Decimal.
So the second rule for today is, if you're going from a percent to a decimal, instead of multiplying, what do you think you do?
Divide.
You divide by 100. Okay, so in your calculator, I want you to type 57 divided by 100 and tell me what it gives you.
0.57.
So we took 57 and we divided by 100 and it gave us 0.57. So we just converted from a percent to a decimal. Okay? Now you also need to notice, if you have 57%, the decimal's right here, right? This is 57%. Dividing by 100 means you move the decimal two places to the left. 1, 2. So it's 0.57, which is what this is. So dividing by 100 is the same as moving the decimal two places to the left. Now, just like dividing by 100 means you move the decimal 2 to the left, when you multiply by 100, you move the decimal 2 to the right. So here we have a decimal and we want it as a what? A percent. So we multiply times 100. Now I just told you multiplying by 100 means you move the decimal 2 to the right. So what is it?
25%.
25%. So 0.25 times 100 is 25%. So you just made a decimal into a percent. Now here, we have to multiply this times 100 also, which means we move our decimal 2 to the right, which makes it 76%. So we just made the decimal 0.76 into it. Now if you had 0.76%, that's 76% still, isn't it? Okay. Now on these four examples, they want to turn these percentages into a what? A decimal. So to do that, we move. Now look, you got to understand, 48%, the decimal is understood to be right there. Okay? So you got to move it two places to the left. So what is it going to be?
Decimal 48.
Instead of saying decimal 48, say 0.48. And instead of saying decimal 48, say 0.48. See what I mean?
0.48.
Good. So we're going to move this one 2 to the left. So what's it equal?
3.
Let Christina say it. 0.35. Good. Here we move it 2 to the left, so it's 0.75. And now each time we move it to the left, we're dividing by 100, aren't we?
Yes.
Each time we're dividing by 100. So on this last one, we're going to divide by 100, which means we. Now here's your fraction or whatever. Okay, 0.8. So you move it 2 to the left anyway, and so what is it?
0.98.
And that's your answer as a decimal.
So if it's already a decimal, you go 2 back.
2 to the left, yeah. These are all decimal percents, and you just went 2 to the left. So today you learned how to turn a decimal into a percent and a percent into a decimal. That's right.